welcome to Dad Live. Yes, Dad's back. Hey everybody, welcome. Alright, enough of Potter. Just trying to have a little fun with some music. I love welcome back. Yes, Dad is home. It was a great trip. I just want to take a little time tonight to kind of tell you about the trip, let you ask any questions you might have. Just kind of a laid back, not so structured lunch with Dad type thing. Yes, I do have a plan because that's what I do. I make plans. I do have a plan, but I thought we'd just have a chat tonight about Walt Disney World. I was just there, and I want to go back so bad. It's like 20 degrees, not 20, but it's cold here. It was hot last week, really nice, beautiful weather in Orlando, and I come home and it's cold. It just makes me want to turn around and go back, you know. It was sunny all week there. We come home in the cloudy, drizzly, gray sky. It's everything just, you know, I got up and had my bowl of cereal this morning, and I'm thinking, man, that omelet sure sounds good. Can I go back? But anyway, so let's just go through and see what we're going to do tonight. Hello to everybody. I see the names popping up. My glasses aren't working well enough to read everybody, but anyway, I've got a couple of helpers tonight, as I always do. Stephanie and Tatiana, my assistants. They'll be filling in, if they'll be answering some of the stuff, making comments as we go through tonight. But basically what I want to do tonight is just kind of go through the trip and tell you what I did, tell you some of the things I saw, and kind of let you ask questions and see if there's anything you want to know, or just kind of see what happens. We're just going to throw it up in the air and see what happens. Here's kind of the plan that I had. We're going to talk about some of the memories from the trip. We're going to look at the stop we made at Disney Springs and kind of walk through the trip from there. Take a look at the new rides that we experienced. Talk about the Food and Wine Festival, because that was the main reason for the trip, was to go to the Food and Wine Festival. And then we'll talk about Port Orleans French Quarter. That's where we stayed, Port Orleans French Quarter. Big surprise there. And then we'll kind of start winding down with talking about why I have a car at Disney World and the car that I picked this time. Oh boy. And then we'll wrap up with all the questions you might have. Final thoughts. I just 5 minutes ago decided, let's give away a book tonight. Let's just see who's here and give somebody a book tonight. If you're here, you want a book, just like, comment, share, say I want a book. Just let us know. But, you know, just hit the like button about 1,000 times. Hit the love button, hit the wow button. Don't hit the sad button, don't hit the crying button. But yeah, just hit the buttons down below, like, comment, share, and we'll just pick a random winner at the end of the night. I've got a big sticky so I don't forget to announce it like I have in the past. So we'll just pick a winner at the end of the night, and whoever wins, I'll send you a book. I'll send you Dad's Simple Fun Magic Guide to Walt Disney World Planning. That's a really good book. Really, really good book. You need the book. All right, so let's just talk about some of Dad's big memories from the trip. Well, we got a couple questions. I'm just going to answer them as they come in. So let's just see. Mardana asks, each trip I look back and say, I wish I could have done X. What was your X from this trip? That's a great way to start. What was the thing I wish I could have done? Friday, or the last night. Last night we decided, the last day we decided to go back to the resort, back to the Port Orleans in the afternoon and watch the OU football game. I'm a big OU football fan. You can probably see, yeah, right? Yeah, let's see, right here, my OU football banner. I'm a big OU football. We decided to go back and watch the football game, think it'd be over. We go back over to the Magic Kingdom and watch the fireworks and just end the night with a Dole Whip and fireworks on Main Street. And that was the way we were going to end our trip. Well, the football game lasted this is Mrs. Mom talking. The football game lasted 4 hours. And we didn't get back over to the Magic Kingdom. So our trip kind of ended with a little bit of a dud. But it was a great trip. Don't have anything to complain about on the trip. We didn't get to see the new Happily Ever After fireworks show, but that's kind of the one thing that I do regret from the trip. Okay, got one more question, and Lindsay says, I like the Disney Dad sign. Yeah, the Disney Dad sign right there. That's cool. That was we had that made at the Food and Wine Festival booth, the festival center. They had an artist that was making those, and we decided, hey, that'd be a great thing for the office. So it's going to be sitting right there from now on. The Disney Dad. It's also on my license plate, so that's who I am. I'm the Disney Dad. Okay, so let's get into some of my favorite memories in the trip. In the book and everything we do, kind of the whole reason I started Dad's Guide to WDW was about the memories. That's what Walt Disney World, that's what a Disney World vacation is all about, is the memories. And so I thought we'd just go down memory lane. Maybe we'd start out with a few pictures. So let's see if, whoops, not yet. Let me see if I can get this set up where I can share just a few of the pictures from our trip. This is us at the airport. This is the first one where we're getting ready to take off. You can see the smiles on our faces. That's me and Mrs. Mom. First night we went to Disney Springs, and we tried out Aristo crepes. If you haven't heard about it, it's just a crepe place there at Disney Springs. And this is Mrs. Mom's Aristo crepe. It's kind of, eat it like an ice cream cone. It was really, really good. That was the way our trip started. Then, keeping on with the sugar high, we went over to Sprinkles and grabbed a couple cupcakes. We'd eaten at Wolfgang Puck, another great experience. A great way to start the trip, eating at Wolfgang Puck. It's our favorite quick service restaurant. We grabbed some cupcakes and we took them back to the hotel to eat later. So next morning we get up, we go to Epcot. Here we are on the tram to Epcot. We kind of try to take a selfie every morning to start the day. We posted some of them on the Facebook page. This is the first Dole Whip of the trip. Well, one of the things we did was a Dole Whip a day. We had a Dole Whip every day of the trip except the last day because we didn't get back to the Magic Kingdom to get our Dole Whip. But we had a Dole Whip every day of the trip. A Dole Whip a day keeps the doctor away. That's a Dad original. I came up with that during the trip. A Dole Whip a day keeps the doctor away. Here's me meeting with the boss. He said we're doing a great job. Keep it up. We went to Animal Kingdom, saw the elephants, the rhinoceros. I just threw this in because this reminds me of an old Bill Cosby joke. He used to tell a joke. My grandmother had Bill Cosby records, and one of the lines in the joke was, "We used to have a rhinoceros." So I just kind of had to throw that in. Another Dole Whip, the daily. This is the one at the Magic Kingdom. This is the day we're going to go to the Magic Kingdom. You can see the monorail in the background. We're just happy as we can be. Yeah, it was a great trip. You have to ride It's a Small World. After all, put that in your head for a while. Now, there's a story behind this. Of course, this is Buzz Lightyear. The first thing we did, one of the first things we did that day at the Magic Kingdom was ride Buzz Lightyear. And for the second time in our adult lives, Mrs. Mom beat me on Buzz Lightyear. I don't know how. I think she doesn't know how. She found one of those 100,000 point and hit it a couple of times. So she pretty well beat me on Buzz Lightyear. And I tried to take a picture of it to prove it because I was going to be nice and prove it for her. And I caught it, it does that blinking thing, and I caught it when it was black. So she has no proof. There's nobody that knows. But anyway, Mrs. Mom beat me on Buzz Lightyear. This is probably the best thing we had to eat the whole week. The cupcake at Be Our Guest. Oh, man, that was good. Another Dole Whip, a Dole Whip a day. We'll talk about the car I rented. I sent this to the kids and said, this is what I want for Christmas. Anyway, every day when we parked, I took a picture of where we were parked so we wouldn't forget. This may have been the best non-sugar thing we ate. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Another Dole Whip. There's kind of a pattern here, isn't there? Tiffany from the Voices of Liberty. Got to talk to Tiffany for a couple minutes. Our buddy Danny McBride's good friend Tiffany. She was very gracious, talked to us for a couple minutes. There is Dad beating Mrs. Mom on Toy Story Mania. Christmas showed up while we were there. It just all of a sudden became Christmas overnight. And this is the Christmas decorations in the pond. You know, a couple weeks ago, they had this pond drained at Disney's Hollywood Studios. And now it's full of Christmas ornaments. First time they put in Christmas ornaments back here. Dad and his Mickey bar. And there are 2 ears on that Mickey bar. Did you know they come with 2 ears? I didn't until this week. Christmas trees on Main Street. Yes, the Christmas decorations were up on Main Street on Saturday when we got there. They weren't there on Thursday or Wednesday. We went there Wednesday and Saturday. They weren't there on Wednesday, but they were up on Saturday. The Jingle Cruise was running in full swing, even though we had heard that it might not. And then this is our last selfie, the last picture. I think this is at Test Track. So it was a good week. We had a great time. Lots of memories made. That's what it's all about. So that's kind of a quick trip down memory lane. I had trick stuck. I was trying to, what? Trick? So quick trip down memory lane for our trip. We'll talk about a couple more memories here as we go along, because there were a couple of priceless memories that we had at the end of the trip, or a couple of times during the trip. Okay, so let's see. Got a couple of questions here. Roger says, was the Disney dining plan part of your vacation? Why or why not? Roger, it was not. Number one, I am not a fan of the Disney dining plan. I do not. For us personally, it does not work. We knew that most of our vacation this time was going to be spent at the Food and Wine Festival. So that's all, just grab and go and quick bites, and some of them are, there's only some of them that really make sense to use for snacks. Most of them are pretty cheap. So we decided not to, we don't usually use the dining plan. It doesn't usually come into our thoughts. The only time we've gotten the dining plan is for free dining. Not a big fan of the Disney dining plan. I think Disney is the only one that makes out well on it. I've got calculators. It just does not economically work. It was not make any sense for this trip because we did not eat enough sit down, quick or table service meals for this trip. Most of what we ate, probably 50% of our meals were eaten at the Food and Wine Festival. Okay, Kira, how was Pandora Rise? Get into that in a minute. Tips or advice for the Christmas party? Must do it. Eric, the Christmas party, I love the Christmas party. If you want to have a great time, a great experience, it's all about the experience. Now, if you're worried about the money, then it's probably not worth the money if you're a numbers person. If you're trying to say, if I add things up, is everything going to balance? No, but the experience, the snow on Main Street. We're actually going to talk about this Friday on Lunch with Dad, because my top 5 things Friday are from Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party. So we'll talk more about that on Friday. But the Christmas party, yeah, I think it's a great experience. Is it worth it? Dollar to dollar, maybe not so much. But going to the Christmas party, advice for it, absolutely. Go and enjoy. Don't necessarily try to plan it out. Just go enjoy the atmosphere. Make sure you see the parade. Make sure you see the fireworks. Make sure you get some of the cocoa and the goodies that they have all around. Go to the shows. It's just a great experience. Okay. Cheryl asked, will I be able to get Fast Pass for Pandora during Christmas week? We stay off site, so we'll book it 30 days out. Cheryl, maybe and maybe not. Disney has been playing with the Pandora Fast Passes. They usually are not available at the 60-day mark. We weren't able to get a Fast Pass at the 60-day mark, but somewhere, I don't remember how many days out it was, but somewhere along the line, Disney released them. We saw somebody post that Disney released them today. We got in and we got some. And it really, really made a big difference. Okay, so let's talk about Disney Springs for just a minute. First thing we did, we landed at the airport. It was evening time. We got our bags. It was like we left the airport at like 7:30 in the evening. So the idea we had was we were either going to go to Disney Springs and eat supper or go to the hotel and eat supper. We decided we'd go ahead and start because we both love Wolfgang Puck. So we decided to go start our trip at the best place to eat we could imagine for a quick, not a restaurant where we needed reservations. So for a quick restaurant, we stopped at Disney Springs. So we've got our own car. We're going to Disney Springs. So we pull into the parking garage, the brand new parking garage. In fact, it's the new one. It was the lime parking garage, not the orange parking garage, but the new lime parking garage. So we go into the parking garage because I wanted to check out this parking garage. As we pull up to the garage, it says there are 28 slots available. Just 28 slots available. Okay, are we going to be able to find these slots? The parking garage, these new parking garages are really, really cool. Each level, the entrance to each level tells you how many empty slots there are. And then you drive through and you find each row also tells you there's a sign that says how many empty slots are on this row. And as you drive into the rows, up on the ceiling hanging down over each slot is the little sensor that they use to see if there's anybody parking in that slot. Well, those sensors have a green light in them if the parking slot is empty. So you don't have to go looking, wondering if around this next big SUV there's a car. You can just look up and see there's a green light there. I know I'm going to be able to pull into that parking spot. It is really, really cool. Just getting into the parking garage was it wasn't well marked, let's put it that way. Where you got in and where the slots were available on level 2, but we had to enter on level 4 and come back down. And that was really kind of, why can't we get in on level 2? But anyway, so that was just really cool. Then we went to Wolfgang Puck. As always, the food was really good. I get the chicken there. It was just, I think it is the best value for a quick service meal at Disney World. It's a great meal. We went over to Aristocrapes. It was cold. We just wanted something. We wanted to try Aristocrape. Now, Aristocrape sits on the bridge over by Rainforest Cafe, that new walkway bridge that goes from there over to the old riverboat over there, Paddlefish restaurant. So it sits up there by the Rainforest Cafe end of that bridge. So we went over there and we grabbed some crepes, not knowing if they'd be any good or not. Mrs. Mom got one. She got the chocolate and banana, and I got the strawberry. They were both really good. You saw that they sit in that little snow cone-like thing. They were a little bit hard to eat, but man, they were good. Then we got lost. We walked around. We were trying to find sprinkles. We finally decided we weren't going to get sprinkles because we couldn't find it. And then we said, oh, it's got to, looked at the map. Okay, it's got to be up that. And sure enough, we found sprinkles. The Cupcake ATM, that's just so cool. The Cupcake ATM had a big old long line, so we decided it was kind of chilly, so we were going to go in and look at the cupcakes to pick which ones we want. I decided to go with their signature cupcake, the red velvet cupcake. Mrs. Mom decided to go with the chocolate velvet cupcake. Mrs. Mom chose wisely. Dad chose poorly. not poorly. It wasn't a bad cupcake, but Mrs. Mom, wow. We took them to go, so they boxed them up in a cute little box, really nice little box. We took them back to the resort, got all into the Port Orleans, put the cupcakes on the desk because we'd already had the crepes and big dinner, and we weren't hungry at all. So we were going to eat them the next day. Anyway, so that was Disney Springs. Pretty cool, pretty cool. I'm not going to go every day by day like this, but I'm just going to kind of hit some of the high points of the trip. But the Disney Springs was the Aristocrapes, the sprinkles, great experiences. All right, you guys have a couple more questions. Here we go. All right, Kira, I'm getting ready to talk about the Pandora rides. That's in the next section. Will I be fast? Okay. Any thoughts about the planned NBA experience? Doesn't seem to me to fit with the rest of the rebranding of Disney Springs. And that was from Michael. Michael, I don't know yet about what I think. I'll have to see it. Really, I'll have to see it. Disney Springs is kind of a mishmash of all kinds of entertainment. There's all kinds of entertainment. If you think about it, does Cirque du Soleil really fit in Disney Springs? It's really kind of a different kind of entertainment. You've got Cirque du Soleil, you've got the AMC theaters, you've got Splitsville, and those are all kind of right down there around where the new NBA experience is going to be. I'm going to have to see what they do with the NBA experience. It's kind of like the planetarium, what is it? The new, whatever they redid, Planet Hollywood. Thank you, Brain. The Planet Hollywood thing that they redid. Disney Springs is really kind of a mishmash of all kinds of stuff. Morimoto Asia, that building with the bottling company, Springs Bottling Company on the top. It's just, there are so many, there's not any real decor and feeling to it, but that's what makes it so cool. There's a little bit of everything. They've got the street performers. There were bands going all over the place when we were there. There's just all kinds of entertainment. And I think that's the idea behind the NBA experience, at least the way it looks. It's just all kinds of entertainment. Will it work? I don't know. We've been to the one over at Universal, and it's kind of like the same thing. It's kind of, what? We'll see. I've never been an NBA fan until the Thunder moved. By the way, I have a Thunder shirt on. Speaking of NBA, I've got my Thunder shirt on tonight. But anyway, so I don't know whether it'll fit or not. We'll just have to see. We'll have to see when it opens. I don't know how to answer that question. Okay, so the new rides. We got to experience all the new rides that have come out since the last time we were there. The last time we were there was January of 2016, so it's been over a year since we've been there, almost 2 years since Mrs. Mom has been there. I've been there, I was there in December, but there's some things we hadn't experienced yet. Starting with Pandora. Our second day there, the first day we went to Epcot Food and Wine Festival, did the World Showcase. The second day we went to Animal Kingdom. And we started our day at Animal Kingdom in Pandora. It was an early extra magic hours day. So we got there. We didn't get there quite at opening. We have to get an ECV now, or at least I had to have an ECV for the trip. I couldn't do that much walking. So we had to stop and get our ECV. And by the time we got into Pandora, it was 8:26. And as we were walking up, we were going to do the Navi River journey because we had a flight of passage, fast pass for later. So we're going to do the Navi River journey. Very first thing to miss the line. So we're headed towards the Navi River journey. And as we're headed toward the Navi River journey, we're passing the line that was lining up for flight of passage. and there was a cast member that had a big stick, something about how long the line is. And as we were walking by, literally right as we walked by, he says, the line for Flight of Passage is 1 hour and 55 minutes from, boom, this point. An hour and 55 minutes at 8:26 during extra magic hours. An hour and 26 minutes. We walked up to Flight of Passage, to Navi River Journey, and it said 15 minutes. It turns out we went right up, didn't wait at all, right all the way to the front of the line without really even stopping, right to the loading dock without really even stopping on Flight of Passage. On Navi River Journey. Navi River Journey is a beautiful, beautiful ride. The new display technology that they're using, new animatronic display technology, is just incredible. They've made such a leap in the last 5 years, last 6-7 years from the last set of rides they built. They have made such a leap in their display technology. It's just they don't compare. They don't compare. You go to Pirates, you see the effects on the fog, but the brightness of the Navi River Journey just is unparalleled in any of the Disney rides up to this point. When the one thing I did notice that I was shocked about in Navi River Journey was the boat itself, the ride vehicle itself. It's the most comfortable boat at Walt Disney World, especially for people that have lower body problem, leg problems, knee problems. If you've got knee problems, hip problems, Mrs. Mom and I both suffer from knees. I have replaced knees. She has a replaced knee. We both have knee, and there's lots of leg room under the seat in front of you. You can actually stick your feet up under the seat in front of you. There was plenty of throw between the seats, so there's plenty of leg room. It was the only sit-down ride like that I could get comfortable on. Just incredible room. And it was made just for 2 people in a seat. It wasn't made, you could slip a third person in, but it wasn't made to crowd like 4 or 5 people in. It was very, very comfortable. Again, the ride, very, very beautiful ride. Later in the day, we went and ate breakfast, had breakfast with the boss, and got the marching instructions from Mickey himself. Then we came back over and did Flight of Passage. Flight of Passage, you hear so much about it. The theming is just outstanding. The whole theming, you can tell they spent $1 billion on Avatar, the Avatar land, Pandora, the world of Avatar land. All the theming is beautiful. We went into the ride. We had fast passes, so we didn't have to really wait in line. We got up and we went into the ride to the pre-show area. I've got to say, the pre-show, while it was cool, it was a little long. Just kind of drug a little bit. It was probably about 3 to 4 minutes too long. If they could do something to shrink that time down, it would really help. But believe me, it was cool. The effects that they use in the pre-show, very interactive, very, they tell you to move and you can see yourself. I don't want to give it away if you haven't seen it, but the effects that they're using now are just incredible. So we get through, we get onto the ride. I get onto the ride. Mrs. Mom decides that she can't do it. But anyway, so I get on the ride. Everybody has talked and wondered about the Pooh-sized people and the ride. I don't see any reason why just about anybody cannot ride the ride. There is nothing that really compacts you into the ride. You sit down in the ride, there's a little angled thing that comes across your chest, and then after you sit down, something comes up and holds you in with your back. It's not like it's a big thing that compresses you. It's just a little pad that comes and holds you in. It also holds your legs in. I don't even know that it's necessary, but so it's really not a factor for poo-sized people. So the ride takes off. I mean, it's just awesome filming. Makes you feel like you're flying on the Banshee. You get the feeling of flight. Soarin' is supposed to be on a hang glider, where it's nice and gentle, and you're just hang gliding through the air. Flight of Passage, you're on a Banshee. You're going like this, and you get the feeling of G-forces. You actually get that feeling when that Banshee climbs. You feel the climb. Very, very intense. In fact, it pretty much set off my motion sickness. So I had to close my eyes, and I didn't get to see most of the ride. I'd peek every once in a while, and there's some beautiful, beautiful scenes. The visuals are incredible. But if you suffer from motion sickness, you probably don't want to ride it. I'm just sorry to say. It's just a little intense for motion sickness sufferers. But anyway, so that's Flight of Passage. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful ride. Just an incredible experience. All right, so the other rides we experienced while we were there, the new ones, Soarin' over the World. I found that soaring, where the old Soarin', I really did get a little uneasy, a little nauseous sometimes on some of the things when you were doing I didn't have that with Soarin' over the World. Was able to experience the whole ride. Again, it's nice and smooth. You didn't get that jerk that you got on Flight of Passage. Again, Disney has the display technology just down to a science. We did ride Frozen Ever After. They didn't change the boats. The boats are still just a little bit uncomfortable. But again, the display technology, kind of missed the story didn't really follow. At least maybe I was not paying attention enough, but I didn't catch the story. I didn't catch the Olaf. I didn't catch the Ice Queen. I didn't catch the Sven and the Kristoff. And the story just didn't quite follow. I didn't quite get the story through the ride like I kind of hoped for. But it's a beautiful ride. If you're a fan of Frozen, I'm not. If you're a fan of Frozen, you'll love the ride. And then the last new thing we experienced was Rivers of Light. First time we'd seen Rivers of Light. We had a Rivers of Light dining package, which gave us the dining package seating. We've talked a lot over the last year, since I started Rivers of Light, about the seating. After being there, it's obvious that you need to be in the stadium to watch Rivers of Light. There is just no place outside the stadium where you can get a good view of Rivers of Light. So you need to be in the stadium, whether it's the Fast Pass area, whether it's the dining area, or whether it is the just general admission area. Get there early, get a seat in the general admission area if you don't have a Fast Pass or a dining package. We were in the dining package area. We were kind of really right in the middle of the whole theater. We were kind of right in the middle, and our seats, because I had the ECV, we had a seat up above on the top row of the theater, kind of looking down. It was really, really good seats. So we got to see Rivers of Light. Again, it's Disney magic, magnificent light experience. It's like, again, it's kind of like the Illuminations show. I don't get it. I just don't get it. I'm just one of those guys that I don't understand the story. I don't know the story, and it doesn't really tell the story. Yes, it talks about how we're all one mankind, and the birds and the fish and the bears. and right about that time, the bear eating the fish. How how we're all supposed to get along with the bear eating the fish. Um, that just hit me, and it's just the way I am. But it was a beautiful show. It was a beautiful show. Would I pay extra like we did for the dining package? Would I pay extra to go back? Probably not. I'd probably go with a fast pass, or maybe just try to get into the seating early to watch it. But that's me. That's just my personal experience with it. You might experience something totally different. We're all different. That is one of the first things I say in the book is we're all different. Not everybody's like me, and that's a good thing. Okay, so let's go back and see what other questions. Okay, so Cheryl, let's get back. Will I be able to fast pass Pandora during Christmas week? Stay off site, so we'll book about 30 days out. I answered that one already. Yeah, maybe. Don't know for sure. Maybe. Where was the other? What's that? The Pandora rides. Kara, the Pandora rides. I think I got those. They're beautiful. They're great rides. Okay. Here's one from Tiffany. Tiffany said, would you compare Flight of Passage to the Harry Potter ride at Universal? Well, number one, I haven't been to Universal in 15 years, so I haven't seen Harry Potter. But Stephanie, my assistant, has, and she says, Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey only has video segments. The rough part of that rides are due to a robotic arm that operates the same way as the Sum of All Thrills previously at Epcot. So there's really kind of no comparison. Hang on just a minute. I got to check something here. I don't know why you can't hear me. I'm sorry, girls. You'll just have to deal with it. Anyway. Okay. So, better now. All right. Here we go. Next question. Have the Fast Pass, we have Fast Pass of Rivers of Light. Are the seats in the same area as the dining package seats? Yeah, they are pretty much. The way that the seats break out in Rivers of Light, there are 3 sections. They're if you're looking at the show from the center, on the right are the Fast Pass seats. In the center are the dining package seats. On the left are the general admission seats. They are all good seats. I'm not going to say it would be better to be in the middle, over the left or the right, because the show pretty much makes sure that everybody kind of gets the same look. So I don't see that whether you have a Fast Pass, a dining package, or even a general admission seat, it's not that big a deal as long as you have a seat in the stadium. Okay, does one more? Carrie asks, does Frozen Ever After still have crazy wait times, or did you get a Fast Pass? We got a Fast Pass, Carrie. We did have a Fast Pass. I can't stand in line. We didn't do anything where I had to stand long, because it's just part of my hip replacement from this summer. I cannot stand for long periods of time. Long periods being anything over 30 minutes. So I can't stand in line. We did have Fast Passes for pretty much any long lines. Any other lines that we wanted to do, we got there early, or we drove the UCB through. But we didn't wait in line for anything, really. All right, so those are the new rides we experienced. Okay, so next, I'm going to take a drink. Then we're going to talk about the Food and Wine Festival. As you could probably tell, I think I said we had 5 days in Epcot at the Food and Wine Festival. So we really kind of tried to eat our way around the world. Some of my favorite things that we did we ate at the Food and Wine Festival. Remember, very first stop, I had to stop and have a steak at Canada. The Canada Pavilion, the little Canada booth there, they do a fillet with mushrooms, and it is just fabulous. They also have a cheddar soup with a roll. Mrs. Mom got that. I got the steak, and in fact, came back and got more steak, almost as much as Dole Whip, but not quite. So it's one of those things. It's a tradition for us, and it's one of those things I gotta have. And they didn't disappoint. One of the other things, the potato gratin with ham and cheese at Germany. the Germany pavilion. One night for supper, I had that and a bratwurst from Germany. Was just really good. That potato gratin, I'd go back and eat that again right now. Um, in the American Adventure at the Barley and Hops, there's a lobster roll. And this thing, in the past, the lobster rolls have been big, $15, $17 lobster roll. This was just like a set, I think it was $8 for the lobster roll. By the way, the steak is $8. I think the potato gratin's like $4. The lobster roll was like $8, and it comes out. It's just a little lobster roll, but it was just packed with lobster, and I mean, not just a titch of mayonnaise, not any filler, not any celery, just lobster and just a titch of mayonnaise. And the bun was toasted with just a little butter. It was just the way it should be. Just enough toast on it that the mayonnaise didn't make it soggy, and it was just right. The best savory thing we had the whole week was at Coastal Eats. Coastal Eats is part of a new area that's up by Journey to Imagination. Actually, this year, the Food and Wine Festival is not just around the lagoon. It's kind of creeping into Future World. And they had a couple of sections up between that walkway that goes from Journey to Imagination down into the World Showcase. They had a couple of food booths areas set up there. And one of those areas had 3 different booths, and one of those booths was called Coastal Eats. And it had like scallops and a crab cake, and it had this baked shrimp scampi dish that had a couple of toast things that you could dip in it. Oh my goodness, we devoured that thing. I mean, we were licking the bowl clean. That thing was so good. That was probably the best savory thing we had to eat. We really weren't disappointed by much of anything. Mrs. Mom was really, well, there was one. Mrs. Mom's a big creme brulee nut. She loves creme brulee, and she got the creme brulee over at France, and they had put some kind of berry thing in it, and berry jam, it said, or something like that in it, and it was just mush. You know, creme brulee, you're supposed to break through and get a nice pudding. It was just mush, and she was very disappointed in that. But overall, Food and Wine Festival, we ate 5 days in the Food and Wine Festival. We only got to about half of our list of things we wanted to try. We had a couple of days we didn't get over there that we were planning to get over there, but it was an awesome experience. We've had a couple of vacations in a row where the food was disappointing. Both of them were Disney vacations, where we were disappointed in the food. The last time we went to Walt Disney World, we were really disappointed in the food, especially at the quick service restaurants. This time, we didn't have that same experience. We had good food for the trip. Every day, we had good food. Only a couple of little bitty things that, those weren't quite up to par. But for the most part, the food we had was fabulous this time. Okay, any food questions? Any food questions? Be glad to answer any food questions you've got. Remember, if you joined us late, we're giving away a book tonight. All you got to do is like, share, comment. Before the end of the night, I'll pick a book winner, and we'll give away a book tonight. All right, so you having fun? I'm just talking away. That's the bad thing about this. I don't get the feedback. I don't get to see you. Don't get to talk to you. But anyway, let's just hit the like button or the love button a little bit so I can see those little hearts flying, those little dots flying across. All right, let's have some fun. Okay, here we go. Port Orleans French Quarter. Port Orleans French Quarter. We have never stayed at the Port Orleans French Quarter before. And it's one of those places where I'm very leery of the moderates. We have not had good experience in the moderates. We stayed at the Coronado one time, and the room was dark. It was the browns and the lights weren't real good. The layout's not great. It just felt heavy and dark. We stayed at the Caribbean Beach Resort years and years ago when the kids were little. They're grown and gone now. But we stayed at Caribbean Beach Resort. Both of those places, it wasn't convenient to get to the main building. Everything was all spread out. It just, neither one of them were very comfortable for us. But so we decided we'd give the Port Orleans a try. Because we wanted to, we're in a process of going through all the resorts at Walt Disney World. So, we get into the Port Orleans. It's 9:30 at night. We've been at Disney Springs. We're tired. We just want to get in. We want to put our suitcases up and go to bed. We know what our room number is. That's another thing. We got a text in the afternoon. Our room is ready. Your room number 4437 is ready for you. It's 2:30 in the afternoon, 3:30 Eastern. I'm not going to be there until 9:30 tonight. I got to wait all night. So we finally get to the room, and it's one of those. Are we really gonna? Is this really gonna work? We put our magic bands. Beep, door green. Door opens. We walk right in. Didn't go to the front desk. Online check-in. We didn't have to go to the front desk to check in. We got there. Our room was ready. It's 9:30 at night. The room better be ready, right? But we got there. We went into the room, and the first thing we noticed, we turned on the lights. How bright everything was. It was just such a contrast to the Coronado Springs, which we'd been at like 5 years ago. It was just bright, kind of like the Pop Century, how bright those rooms are in the Pop Century. Everything was so well laid out. There was plenty of room. We stayed over at the Wilderness Lodge last year, and we thought, those are kind of small rooms, but it felt very, very big, very open, very comfortable. So first impressions, really, really good. We get everything unpacked, we settle in, and it's just really, really comfortable. Next morning we get up, we were going over to eat in the main building at Sascagoula Floatworks. So how far is it going to be? How far is the walk? This is a modern, it's going to take forever. We kind of knew because we knew when we came in and parked. So we were in the building right next to Sascagoula Floatworks. We're kind of in the back of the building. So we walked 3 minutes. We're in Sascagoula Floatworks. We are big omelet eaters. Mrs. Mom, we go on vacations. We plan our breakfasts around omelets. And so first day, we gotta have the omelet. And so we order the omelet there at Sascagoula Floatworks. We've kind of been disappointed the last couple of years over the declining omelets at the Pop Century. They're pretty good, but they're not as good as they used to be. So we're a little worried about these omelets. We start looking at them. Oh man, this looks good. It's puffy. It's filled with meat. We sit down, we eat. Oh man, this is a good omelet. This is a good omelet. The only thing it's missing is a good biscuit, so we bought some croissants to go with it. Sascagoula Floatworks, we ate there 3 or 4 times. I like Sascagoula Floatworks. It's a really, really good place to eat. We ate there for dinner one night, and I got the, they call it the 3 meat or something like that. It had fried chicken. It was half of a fried chicken. Breast, thigh, wing, leg. It was a huge pile of chicken. I mean, chicken and then it had mashed potato. You could pick 3 sides. It had mashed potatoes, and I got red beans. I couldn't eat it all. It was so much food, and it was like $14. What a great deal. And it tasted. It was really good. One of the things that we did notice at this, that we were a little disappointed at about Sascagoula Floatworks, we were looking forward to the beignets. You're in New Orleans. This is supposed to be modeled after New Orleans, and you're in New Orleans, and you're supposed to have these great beignets. But they were a little, tough. Kind of seemed like the dough wasn't fresh. They didn't. I watched them cook them, so I know that they were cooked freshly. I watched them put the dough right in there, but we ordered them the first night. We ordered them maybe the first day we were there, and we were going to try them. Every day we're going to get some beignets. We'd gotten them out of Disneyland and just loved them out at Disneyland. We kind of thought that every day we'd get us some beignets, but they turned out we tried them the one time and we kind of okay, we'll pass on those. But Pascagoula Floatworks overall, great place to eat. Great place to eat. Just a great place to eat. Parking at the Port Orleans French Quarter. One of the things that I struggle with some is finding a good place to park. We were 2 minutes from our truck. You go out, literally just right there. Parking was really close. We were close to the main building. And what I noticed is most of the buildings at the French Quarter, because the French Quarter is kind of a small resort. It's not like the Pop Century, which has 2,800 rooms. I think the French Quarter would probably fit inside the 50s to the 90s building. You've got the bowling pins and the Rubik's Cubes and all those things. I think the French Quarter, the whole thing would fit inside of that. Because it's not that spread out. Like, I measured it. It was a mile from the main building to some of the outer buildings at Coronado Springs. Same thing, Caribbean Beach Resort. That's huge resorts. But the French Quarter is really small, really intimate. Really, really liked the French Quarter. We met the manager, the kitchen manager there standing looking at the night I ordered the chicken, was looking at the board, it was right as they opened for evening, for dinner. And the kitchen manager came out and she started talking to us. And then in a minute, here comes the hotel manager, and she started talking, and they started talking to her. They just bantered with us and stuck around for 15, 20 minutes, just talking to us and taking us over and letting us sample some of the stuff. It was a really, really nice experience at the Port Orleans French Quarter. Okay, here's one quick question. Rhonda asks, are the portions big at the Food and Wine Festival? Rhonda, no. These are tasting portions. The steak there is like 4 ounces of steak. It's small portions. It's meant to be small portions. The reason is you buy the small portions and you kind of taste things. You get little bites as you go around the world. Maybe you can see me and pull these pictures back up. Let's see if I can pull these pictures back up and find something to show you. Okay, this is the. In fact, that's that shrimp dish that we had. These are, here's a bottle of water, so you can kind of see these are really kind of small portions. That's a crab cake. That's a skewer of beef with kind of 3 pieces on it. It's just they're small portions. I'm sorry, I keep banging the microphone. They're small portions, meant to be small portions. So it's not like you're getting full plates of food. You're getting tasting portions, $4, $5, $6, $7, $8 portions. The $8 would be the steak. It was $8. So that was the most expensive thing at the Food and Wine Festival, food wise. I'm sure some of the drinks are more. All right, so it's about time to start wrapping things up. That's most of what I had. Let's see, what else? Oh, Christmas. Yeah, I got to talk about Christmas. So if you got any questions, throw them down now. We'll get to them. We'll answer them real quick. Christmas sprung up while we were there. We went to the Magic Kingdom on Wednesday. Wednesday was the last Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party. It was November 1st. So the Halloween decorations are still up. Saturday morning when we got there, Christmas decorations were up. The Christmas was all up and down Main Street. They had the Christmas decorations, and they had just gone up that night. I know for sure they weren't there the day before. We weren't there, but I know people that were. They weren't there the day before, but they were that night. We did, on Thursday, we were at Disney's Hollywood Studios, and the decorations were up that day too. because they were doing the Christmas parade taping, the Christmas show, the December 25th Christmas show taping. On Thursday, they were taping in Hollywood Studios. What did that look like? They had a little stage built in Hollywood Studios right there as you come into the entrance and you peel off to go down Sunset Boulevard to Tower of Terror and Rock and Roller Coaster. They had a stage built right there in that intersection. And that's where they were doing the taping. They were doing it at night because they were using that as a backdrop. They have a new display on the Tower of Terror, on the Hollywood Tower Hotel. They have a Christmas display. They're using that as a backdrop for the Christmas show taping. So they were taping late at night. So that area was kind of congested. When we came into the park, if you were going to Tower of Terror or Rock and Roller Coaster, they were peeling you off and taking you the back way back to Tower of Terror and Rock and Roller Coaster. And that street had become a one way. You go in on one side, you come out on the other side. And they had people there kind of going, no, you got to go that way. No, you got to go that way. No, I don't care if you want to go that way. You got to go that way. So now at the Magic Kingdom this year, the stage, in the past they closed down Main Street. They've been taping all up and down Main Street. Well, this year they only had one stage, and it was in the hub, right in the middle. So they had a stage built there. It didn't affect anybody. They did some taping. They were taping for about 30 minutes as we went from one side of the park to the other and saw them taping, but it really didn't affect anybody as it has in the past. So Christmas parade taping was really not the intrusive thing it's been in the past. Okay, so I said I'm going to talk about the truck. I am really big about having a car at Walt Disney World, and this trip just reinforced that for me in spades. I'd rented a car. We walked down into we get them from Alamo. That's usually where we order because that's usually the cheapest one. So we walked down. We were able to pick from this aisle, and it's a free upgrade. So on this aisle, they have all kinds of cars, but they had this pickup. I'm a pickup guy. I like having a pickup. I don't have one currently. We're looking at buying one 2 or 3 years from now, so I'm kind of got the bug to kind of start looking at pickups. So I decided we're just going to rent this. We're going to see if our luggage will fit into this pickup, and we're going to get this pickup. It's a king cab pickup, so we throw the luggage in. It all fits. It's the perfect color. It's the color I want, literally the color I want. It's the size I want. It's the pickup I want. I sent a note to the kids when we finally got some light and I was able to take a picture. I said, this is what I want for Christmas. They didn't volunteer to buy it for me. I'm just sure under the Christmas tree this year I'm going to have keys. Not a chance. But anyway, so got the pickup. We get to the resort. So we start driving. Now I'm thinking, I kind of know where Port Orleans is in where it fits into the scheme of the roads around Walt Disney World. I drive around Walt Disney World every time we go, and I kind of think that because we were at the Wilderness Lodge last time, and we drove by Port Orleans, and I kind of think that Port Orleans kind of out by itself. So I'm kind of a little leery of driving around Port Orleans from Port Orleans. So the first day we're going to Animal Kingdom. Animal Kingdom's 2 hours from everything. Just no quick way to get to Animal Kingdom, and there is no quick way to get to Animal Kingdom. But we get over to Animal Kingdom. Would it be faster than the bus? Probably, because you have to wait for the bus to get there, and then they have to make that 2-hour drive to Animal Kingdom. So we make our trip to Animal Kingdom, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes. Not too bad. Not a bad trip. The next day, we're going to Epcot. Epcot is a 5-minute, literally a 5-minute drive from Port Orleans, Frenchport. I mean, literally, boom, you're there. And I know that because we made that drive about 6 times. So it's a 5-minute drive. Disney Hollywood Studios. maybe 7, 8 minutes, maybe just a little longer. Disney Springs, 5 minutes. It's just right down the street. Turn right, you're at Disney Springs. Magic Kingdom, 6, 7, maybe 10 minutes, and you're in the parking lot of the Magic Kingdom. Did we try the buses? Yeah, we tried a couple of times because we were going over to Epcot and maybe transferring to Hollywood Studios. So we tried a couple of times to use the buses. We'd wait for the bus. They've got the screens with the times. We were going to Epcot both times. There was no time listed for the Epcot bus. No time. Both times we got there. Waited a few minutes. The first time, pop, here comes the time for the Epcot bus. It's like 4:17. Well, it's 4:16 right now. Cool, bus is coming. No bus. We waited another 5, 10 minutes. Then the time started changing. 4:17, 4:20, 4:27, 4:28, 4:29. Just kept going back and back. We said, let's go get the truck. We got the truck. We went to Epcot. Didn't worry about it. So I've always been a proponent of having a car at Disney World. I know it's an expense. I know Disney will take you around for free. But for me, I'm a car guy. I like to drive. I'm going to have a car at Disney World. Okay, and I'm going to have me a Nissan truck there one of these days. Okay, so we talked about the decorations going up. All right, so got a couple more questions here, and then I'm going to talk about a couple of the big memories. Have we heard anything about Disney's Uber service they're soon offering? Actually, Carrie, the Disney service is up and running at all the resorts. It's called Mini, M-I-N-N-I-E vans, mini vans. They're cute. They're just cute. They look like the red and white mini skirts. They're cute. They will take you from any Disney resort to any place inside Disney World. It's $20 each way, up to 6 people. But they are up and running. It's actually done through Lyft, L-Y-F-T, not Uber. But that service is up and running. Tiffany asks, has the road construction gotten any better since last year? Not at all, Tiffany. There's road construction everywhere. But that's what they're doing at Walt Disney World is they're building new dedicated bus lanes. So they're going to try to get the buses off the main streets and leave the main streets for the cars. So that's why all that construction is going on. And that's a good thing, but the bus lanes. Okay, so before we quit, I got to tell you about a couple of memories that we made. Mrs. Mom and I are grandparents in waiting. We can't wait to be grandparents. The kids, they're just circumstances that aren't letting that happen. And that'll happen when it's supposed to happen. But we just can't wait to be grandparents. So every time we play with kids at Disney World. And both of these last two stories are kids that we ended up playing with at Disney World. And it wasn't us initiating it. That was kind of the really funny thing. We were on test track. You know, you design your car, then you go up to the ride, and we get to test track. And there's this family that comes up next to us. It's 2 boys, probably ages 8 and 6, and their grandma. 2 boys and their grandma are going to ride in the car with us. We're in the front, they're in the back. And as you get to that place where you put your magic band up and it scans your magic band and it shows the car, this little boy, the older boy, he says, I'm going to beat you. I got 85 for my power. I'm going to just beat you. I'm going to win. I'm going to win. And he was just so cute. And so we get into the car and we start teasing him and playing with him. And we're just having fun. We're just having a great time with him. And we come through the first part of the test and test track. And you get the results, and that results, I was number 1, he was number 2. Oh, no, you beat me. How did you beat me? I got all this power. Okay, well, that's performance. I'll beat you into power. And so we get to the next section. And the next section, again, I'm number 1. He's number 2. Oh, man, you beat me again. It was just so funny. He was just so cute. Then, we go through, and sure enough, we get to the power parts. And he did kind of blow us away in the power parts. But And when we got off the ride, I mean, we're playing with them, we're high-fiving them, we're having fun. Grandma's just, Grandma didn't speak English. It was not her first language. It was pretty obvious that it wasn't her first language, but she's just beaming. She's just thanking us, and she's rubbing me, and she's just, trying to, it was just a great experience. That's what Walt Disney World is about. It's about the experience. And then the last day we're there on Saturday, we are Houston Astros fans. My son lives in Houston. He's always been a big Houston Astros fan. We used to live there. We lived there for 7 years. Nolan Ryan, when he was pitching in Houston, Nolan Ryan's, Mrs. Mom is a big baseball fan, big baseball fan. Nolan Ryan's kind of our favorite player. And Houston is one of the places he played. And so we're big Astros fans. And they won the World Series while we were there. And so the last day that we were there, 3 of the players from Houston were there for a parade. So this parade was coming. We're waiting for this parade, and there's a family with us, mom, dad. He had a Miami Marlins hat on. I don't think they're the Marlins anymore, but he had a Miami hat on. And this little girl, she wasn't even talking yet. I mean, she's walking just barely. She's 2 at the most, 18 months to 2 years old. So this little girl is over there, and they're paying attention to her, and everything's going great. And in a minute, Mrs. Mom was sitting on the ECV. I was sitting on the little steps were over by across from Hall of Presidents. So I'm sitting on the step there, and in a minute, I see these little hands up on Mrs. Mom's leg. And this little girl is trying to crawl up on Mrs. Mom's lap. We don't know these people. We haven't even talked to this little girl, and she's trying to crawl up on Mrs. Mom's lap. So Mrs. Mom picks her up, puts her on her lap, starts talking to her, starts chattering with her. Everything is fine. In a minute, she gets down. A couple minutes later, I see she comes around to the other side of the ECV and starts trying to climb up on Mrs. Mom's lap again. So she was busy, and so Mrs. Mom was talking to this little girl's parents. So I picked the little girl up and tried to hold her. Okay, so I put her on Mrs. Mom's lap again. She smiles. She's all happy. Okay, I got to make up to her. So I go over to my bag and I grab a pen out of my bag and I give it to this little girl. And Mrs. Mom gets out her paper and her little notebook and pulls off some paper. And this little girl, I mean, she just having such fun with this pen. In a minute, she gets down and she goes down on the ground. She's got 3 pieces of paper. She's writing on these pieces of paper. And in a minute, she looks up at me and she hands me one of these pieces of paper. And I look at it. I think she's just showing it to me. So I look at it and I hand it back to her. Well, I go back and I sit down, and then she comes over and she gives me this piece of paper. This little note. She made sure she knew that I was supposed to take this home with me. So I have this cool little drawing from Emma, my little buddy Emma. She was so cute. She was just the cutest little kid. And those are the memories that we will never forget. That's what the trip is all about. It's about making memories. Okay, there are 2 more questions here. Nope, there's not. That's all the questions. That's good. Good time. I really thank you I hope you enjoyed tonight. We got to pick a book winner. Who's my book winner there, Stephanie? She's typing. All right, here we go. Kara, you're the book winner. Kara Priestley, you're the book winner. Send us a message here on the page. Just send us a message. Hit the message button. Send us a message, and we'll set you up with the book. Dad's Simple Fun Magic Guide to Walt Disney World Planning. Hope you enjoyed this tonight. Just wanted to have a nice chat about Disney World and our trip, and hope you enjoyed it. We will be back Friday, live and in color, for Lunch with Dad, our standard time, noon Eastern on Friday, and we'll see you then. Have a great evening. Thanks for stopping by. Bye-bye. Thanks so much for watching Dad's video. For more simple, fun, magic Walt Disney World information, go to Dad's Guide to WDW.com. You can do that by clicking the I button that's popping up on the screen right now.
If you like this video, go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel and get more Dad's YouTube videos with Daditude.